All right, it's 8:03. We'll call the meeting of the Police Department Governing Committee to order on August 10th. I believe we have a quorum: Jim Bell, Paul Foley, Penny Ration, Bill Walbert, Katie Murphy Carroll, all here. I know Mike Morrow and Paul Tully will not be present tonight, and I know and Michael Chet, I'm not sure. Michael, you out there? So I don't know if Michael's going to be later. And as far as non-voting members, we got a lot of them. Joe and all good, but we got a big close-up of Stuart out here, so that's the most important thing. I'm glad you blur your background, Stuart, because we don't want to know.
No.
Were there any public comments that came in, Joe?
No public comments.
We like that. The minutes.
Any.
I actually read them. I did, and I didn't.
No, I have comments.
Paul?
Yes. On item 6A, it was sort of, we kind of think the building, the state have changed the code, maybe sort of. I would like it to really reflect that the state building code was changed and it does affect our classification. And we changed the design to 3 cells because of that. All right.
Well,
And
we
it's not,
did,
if it-
We
Right.
At that time,
Right.
and we were, at that time, we discussed future action items to do it, but yeah, we did discuss it. I mean, we can certainly in today's minutes reflect the decision that was made, and be more specific about the what this did. I think at that point in
I
time.
would just say, change the first sentence to say, state building code change requires changing the design. As
Yes.
regards the cell count. We were allowed 5, we are now allowed 3 cells.
But we,
Right, the point,
do we know
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
me?
Yep.
He brought it right at the end as a twist, he said, no, yeah.
Well, it was based on the building type. And you'd have to go to a commercial institutional facility, and that changes a lot of the things that the building have to do, so.
I mean, Joe, can you, there are a lot of ways to do it. It just says may affect. I think the truth is, we weren't told it would affect, we were told it does
It will.
affect.
right, that's the point, because,
Right.
5 years or 10 years from now, I don't want somebody coming back and saying, well, why didn't he make 5? And and here it's documented that, hey, the state building code changed while we were in planning stage. We decided to make it 3 for this reason. That's all.
Understood.
We can pass them and we can come back and amend. If you want to just draft it, we can.
Yeah.
vote on it.
Do
Do we want to put in, because Brian, at that
Get
point,
Brian to give us the exact wording, so it's accurate.
because the timing, he was very specific about the timing that we put in with the state in November. Because that's not reflected here, right? That,
Yeah, I think the whole November.
I mean, I think we want that in the minutes that, we submitted plans in November and did not hear back until, July, where they said the code had changed and we were going to study
It
our.
would not give us an exception.
Yes, exactly. We were going to study our action items going forward, and then in today's minutes, we can discuss that. In fact, we did decide to reduce the cells to 3. Is that fair, Paul?
That's fair. Thank you. Yep.
This is what we're trying to accomplish.
Thank you.
The
Thank
other, on 5C, I had a question about the bid date has been set for August 2nd, but the last meeting wasn't changed to August 9th. When did it move to August 9th?
It moved after the meeting.
After the meeting.
After the meeting, once it was determined, we go into the
Okay.
cells, and then go after the walkthrough, so
Okay.
it's accurate for the time of the meeting.
All right, perfect. All right, any other comments?
We keep asking about the training facility, and was that reflected in the notes that again, we were asked about the training, or the status of the training facility was asked, and no progress has been made.
Yeah, you're right, Paul, we should.
Yeah, that should be in the minute.
That should be in the minutes. It's asked every meeting we've had, and every meeting we've had, I've seen no progress made.
You're on your A game this morning, Paul.
I'm cranky. It's 5 o'clock in the morning out here. I'm in California. Come on, give me a break. Go ahead. Sorry, guys.
I don't know if we can say no progress, because we have no idea what they're doing. So.
Well, you
we-
could say that too. Yeah, all right.
Provide.
No update, yeah, something like that.
It
No
would be, it would be
update.
better to have no update was provided than no progress was
Right.
made.
Yeah, because I don't think we know what is happening, so I would say no update.
Okay.
All right, motion to approve the amended minutes?
No, we're gonna. put it over-
Oh,
we're gonna put it over the next.
thank you. See what Jim Bell sitting right next to me, there's all kinds of trouble I can get into, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, progress update. And let's talk about everything except the turnip business, so I guess for progress, we should talk about the move.
Sure, over at 39 Locust, we're contracted with Norcom for the dispatch relocation. The long lead times, including the UPS, has been ordered. Norcom is also contracted for the prime radio site relocation over to Waveney Park site. AT&T is contracted for the PSAP, the 911, all those parts and pieces, the server that go over to 39 Locust. Crown Castle is contracted to go over the dark fiber, met with them. They know where they're gonna terminate it. They know how they're gonna bring it into the building. We walked that location. Dan Clark was very helpful getting us into the building and, poking and prodding, finding exactly how to run the fiber over
What's
there.
the dark fiber for?
To 911. Basically, everything that's kind of connected to the console goes over a fiber line. It's a special loop for the state. So Crown Castle is the one that installs that for the state, and that's been approved. We went through the approval process, and it's contracted. Northeast Generator is contracted for the generator, the transfer switch, and all the gear. It was scheduled to come in September. Now it's coming in October. So still within when we need it. Well, luckily, the transfer switch, because the building over at 39 Locust does not have a generator. So we're gonna keep our portable generator over there, but we're putting an automatic transfer switch because it didn't exist in the building. So in order to connect it, we needed to put all the parts and pieces in there to be able to plug in our portable generator.
Joe, question. Have we done the job of isolating and getting the emergency generator installed on the EMS building?
I'm sorry, what's that?
It's been ordered.
I want to make sure that we don't cut off the current emergency generator, which supplies the EMS building until the new one is installed and running.
Oh, yeah, of course. So Bill Osman is handling that project, but I know it has been ordered. I think it's coming in shortly. But it will definitely be connected and operational before we even think about disconnecting it from the building in November.
And also a similar problem, how about the sewer connection for the EMS building?
Oh, we'll let Todd do that, and done as part of their work.
Yeah, it's part of the site work, and we've identified that as really the first task, even before we put up the construction fence. That will close off the police department footprint from EMS. So we'll do that, we eliminate sort of the back door.
You actually have that worked in because previously that was not in the plan. So you have that scheduled, the work schedule, so that really can happen.
Right, we gave them specific instructions that that's the first thing they're gonna do.
Okay, good.
Joe, do we have a date for the dispatch transfer?
Dispatch transfer, no, we don't have a date locked in yet, but it would be November.
November sometime. Okay.
Yep.
And will we use Darien as our failover?
I'm sorry, I talked when I should have. What was that?
Will we be, we would be using Darien as our failover in case something is disrupted and can't be reconciled?
I don't know that. I'll have to ask that question as far as what we planned on doing is bringing everything up online over at 39 Locust, and it's just a transfer. So my understanding is it's pretty much tested and seamless. If we need a contingency plan, we'll put a contingency plan in place.
Sure. We'll have all hands on deck from Norcom and the state and AT&T, and we'll work with all of our partners, and we'll have fail safes in place. We'll handle it.
Okay, thank you.
Lastly, Turner's on board for the fit out. We're working with their construction crew. And we can get into the building. The school is moving out this weekend. They're actually moving out a little bit early.
Thank you, Penny.
Yeah, good job, Penny. And they'll completely be out next week. So it's the big move is this weekend, and I'm sure there'll be some nits and gnats that'll be there before we can just go in there and take over and throw out stuff. We do what we need to do without causing any problems for the school. So you have that week. I think Bill articulated that in the meeting that you guys had a couple days ago. So that's what we shoot for. Or the tire officially we can access the building on the 21st. So we can't get back to keys and stuff like that, but we should be able to get it on the 21st. And there will be some time. Turner has to get in there, look at everything, where all the walls are going, and walk through the space to be some nits and gnats as far as moving some mechanical, some drop in some new diffusers in and stuff like that, but very minimal work. So the police is basically taking the building pretty much as is, which has been very helpful. So it should be a pretty quick and easy fit up.
And we procured all the long lead stuff, all the security.
There's no delivery delays on the glass or anything like that.
No, there will be. Well,
Right now, it's just like this.
getting it. I don't know the exact date.
Yeah, so they were released on all like the door frames and hardware. That's the stuff that takes the longest lead time. There's some specialty items like the pass through, the bullet resistant stuff and stuff.
What's the move-in date you might just set for the police to move into the?
It's gonna be right around Thanksgiving.
I'm sorry, Joe, say that again. You didn't come through.
Right before Thanksgiving. We're still on target for what we've been saying all along. Is right before Thanksgiving we'll move. We'll get that date locked in once we get everything material.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have. I was very this. Unless anyone has any questions.
Good. And as far as progress update elsewhere, I mean, that's really the only thing we're really focused on, and we'll do a bit. So move on, general business. Let's just get into a bit. Richard, we are so thankful and appreciative that on a very short turnaround, you guys took all those bids that came in, through doing it, and were able to give it to us. A rough outline of what came in this morning, and like I said, it's very much appreciated by us. Thank you.
So, yeah, I'll take it from here. So we got good response. We went out, Rich, I don't know, what's the total number of bidders invited? 300 and something?
No, like 160 something.
Okay.
We're having,
Three pages.
yeah.
So, the numbers are very fresh. Things can happen between now and awarding a contract. We're, I would say, cautiously optimistic right now. We've got, I guess what we would classify as a best, worst, and most likely. We're gonna sit and go through with each low bidder to make sure that they have the scope that is intended. If they don't, they can either decide to, go eat it, not ask for an adjustment, or, we can disqualify them as being an incomplete bid. So there's that wrinkle, but then there's also, a few bids where there is a significant difference between the low bidder and the second bidder. One in particular is the site, where there's $1 million spread. You got 3 bids, and one was around, the low bid was around $1 million, the second bid was around $2 million. Our estimate was closer to the $1 million, we were $1.3 million in our estimate. So, that gives us, some comfort. It's a contractor that Tiger knows well. Actually lives in town, the father did.
Father did,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wait,
Father
the
grew up
low
in town.
bid, the low bid is one?
Yeah, it's Grasso.
Yeah, it's Grosser Construction.
Yeah, we certainly do a lot of business for them.
Yeah, and they, we've seen this before where they can come in low.
Yeah, the guys over here.
Also depends on if they want it or not.
Yeah.
So, we're sitting with them Friday morning, going through it. He called us yesterday just to have a quick conversation. He said, frankly, he felt comfortable, not a very complicated site job. It's paving, some piping. Probably the trickiest part is the excavation inside the building, the street work. Yeah. And, we'll know a lot more, but obviously that swing.
But the good news is, it's a contract we do know very well here.
Yeah.
And they come in on budget.
Yeah,
So.
Yes, yeah, they very rarely hit us with change orders for anything,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, well, we did a gridiron right here in town with them, and I'm doing project at Greens Farms Academy as well, so.
Yeah, right.
Them.
Yeah, they did Forest Street, that's right.
But you're saying that bid's coming in line with what you'd estimated, so that's not a big savings.
It's a little low, I mean, it's
Little, but not a lot, but I'm.
25% lower than our estimate, so.
$300,000,
Yeah,
right?
right.
That's Ron.
Yeah, so
That's
that's.
a.
Yeah,
And, some of it can be a function of, other bidders' appetite. If their plate's full, they're gonna say, well, if I get it, I wanna make a lot of money. So,
right.
you never know. And the third bid looks like somebody just lobbed in a bid, so.
Yeah, I'll take it if you want it.
Yeah. Turner asked me, so I've got to give him something, and I.
And the old touch football game will be, what am I doing? You go long.
Hey, Bill, I gotta sign off. Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it, sign off. Okay. Once you have a quorum, you always have a quorum.
Okay, so, just to reflect the reason, our estimate at the 50% CD was 20.3 million. Your budget is 20 million even. Right now, I would say, our best case scenario is probably 19.5. But there are a couple of bogeys out there, and hopefully none of them will come to pass. We, as part of that 19.5, we do have what we call an unbought buffer, if you will, as there are gonna be certain, what I'll call tweeners of scope that as we'll want to incorporate as part of our GMP. Again, as we go through scope reviews, they will bring to our attention certain perhaps gaps in the drawings, and we want to close those gaps. So we'll have what we'll call a hall holder and unbought in there, and there's already a couple of allowances identified from the bid documents. There's about 20,000 of those. So those are on top of the bare bids.
So I'm sorry.
So we have a little buffer.
The 19.5 is without those contingencies. Okay, how much, what's the total amount you're, whatever you want to call it, contingency or buffer or whatever?
It's 589.
Okay,
So there's, it's about 4%.
yeah, and to be clear, this is without replacing the roof, correct?
Well, that's what I was
Yeah, right.
gonna ask.
Right. That is an ad alternate.
So what did that come in?
That came in
Thank
at
you.
366,
Grasso, there we go.
which is very close to our.
It's 366 with your markup.
For the raw number. Rich, I'm gonna have to go to a phone friend on that. I think that's just the ultimate value.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Andy, go ahead.
yeah, that's marked up.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
I'm sorry, marked up means that's what you think it costs.
That's the number we can talk about with elected officials.
Yeah.
366, so we were throwing around 4.
Depending on grass, it's probably like,
Yeah, that's good.
So what's the typical contingency on a project? This is it 5%?
We're carrying 4% right now.
Is that normal? or-
Yeah, renovations, if it's all renovation, we would be closer to 5.
Mhm,
New construction, we usually go 3.
mhm.
So there's a little bit of both. I would say that the area that concerns me the most is the lower level.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
heavy
figure
stuff,
out.
and that's where the underpinning is, and there's surprises. And my other concern is that with the demolition and or abatement, it wasn't a full test of, opening up walls and really identifying everything. So I think there is definitely some risk with the abatement.
are we carrying contingency on our side on the soft
Yes.
cost? And what percentage are we carrying?
So right now, we're carrying about 2.5 million.
So 2.5 million, and then you guys are at 4% of 20 million, so it's
100,000.
3
3.
all in, which is, on a $30 million, it's 10%.
10%.
I mean, to the top
Yeah,
audience, we
so there-
basically, rough numbers, talk about a $2 million contingency in the project. In fact, there's
It's
a little
more,
more.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, which all comes
And I
under
wouldn't-
that
I wouldn't-
2.95.
I wouldn't necessarily, it is a contingency of sorts, but there is a certain amount that is kind of a known open buy that Turner's addressing with their 585,000.
What was it? Oh, I'm sorry.
Our contingency doesn't cover changes.
Right.
Yeah.
Who, can you show who the?
Yeah.
It's on there online.
Just go down the bottom, Joe, click on participants.
Oh, there
and,
Yeah, Andy is, well, he's maybe.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I was just mentioning that I wouldn't, this Turner contingency, which is the on lot items, isn't necessarily a contingency. It's that as bid because we brought you raw data.
Yes.
So it's not, you can't
It's
add,
not like.
don't add it to the town's contingency.
Right.
Or not.
Well, you have
It's
some
not
allowance, you're better.
Yeah, 20,000.
Into that,
20,000.
in the whole project?
No, that's right now. Once we go, we'll look, once we get to our GMP, and we identify where the risks and the exposures are, we will probably identify other allowances.
They've had 4 hours with this guy.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
But so basically, we're in the ballpark.
Yes.
we're very, very nice.
We're in a happy place, but there's a lot of discovery yet to do in the parks.
Yeah, I think we've hedged the bet a bit. The $500,000 is hedging it back.
Yes.
So we're being conservative.
Well, we've seen, the other end of the spectrum recently as well, where numbers are coming in 50% over.
Really?
Where we,
You think part of it is the timing?
I think it's the market.
Is it just starting to fall over a little bit?
No, it's very active market still, and so, you don't always get the big coverage and the competitiveness.
Okay.
And this is a really good result when you think about the market and think about the bidding, and you think about price increases. They did a really good job putting it together. So this is a good result.
And when, from a timing perspective, the GMP, what is the timeframe to look people in the eye?
As quickly as possible.
Yeah.
I would say as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we're shooting towards the end of August is probably like the 25th or 6th or something like that.
So what,
So we talked to the selectmen September 5th, right?
Yeah.
First, 8 AM, Tuesday morning after Labor Day. So, you're saying that, yeah, we should have, numbers at least for a week that we could, look at, to just put into
Yes.
That's pretty
And it
sly.
doesn't go to the board of selectmen on the fifth, it's not. You still present the other on as well to the board of finance.
Yeah, yeah, but they, it'll be hard for that.
But I mean, it should, I mean, we're predicting it'll be an easy conversation because it should be a very boring conversation because we were 25-2.
Yeah.
We're gonna be at somewhere around 20.
Yeah.
5-2.
Boring is good.
Yes,
Boring is
that's
good.
right, I aim to be boring.
Exactly. Everything should be fun. So just a logistical question. So, once you get a hypothetical GMP, how long is that held till it's signed? I mean, right, you gotta, I mean, right, because, you know, until you sign it, no one's completely locked in on the other end, right? How does it work?
So when we submit it, well, very often we'll sign it first, but it's obviously more important, when you guys decide, we typically will review it. You know, because there's our, clarifications and assumptions and whatnot, to sort of flush out the number part of it, so that's usually where most of the time is spent.
So you've locked in all the guys, you know.
No, we don't lock in until
That's
we
good.
approve the GMP,
Yeah.
so we don't make the awards.
But everyone kind of knows that's, I'm just thinking
Yeah,
logistically how it works without me.
Well, there's a lock-in period that you put in the bid.
Yeah.
So we have that period to get the GMP signed and put in place by the town. That we already have all the funding in place, so technically, all it needs to do is go through the board and selectmen, and it should be more of a formality. Once the committee reviews and approves the GMP, it should be me going to the board of selectmen and, you know, the rest of the team. Just asking for that to be added to the contract, we officially made the contract.
Yeah,
But you have somebody in place.
we don't wanna prolong it any more than possible, because bidders will be getting other work, and if they get land a sweet one, they may say, oh, I really don't wanna do this. And
Right.
then come up with a.
It's here.
So what's our schedule then? You guys just got this yesterday. We, as the building committee, need to approve the contractors that you're gonna recommend. I think we don't really on that, right?
Well, we already,
Package.
we already pre-approved.
Yeah.
We've approved everyone yet.
So technically, unless they default on the bid, but we've already said that these
We've
are.
already said, okay.
Yeah,
So are the contracts held to the level they did for a certain period of time, or they sort of like, they still,
And
they're across that date where if you don't get back to me by then, we're out, or
Well, they have the rights back out.
anytime,
Yeah, they have to
give you a
prove
notice.
a mathematical error or something like that, it's very hard to,
Can't do it just for, yeah.
They don't want to get on your bad side.
no, they're not looking to surprise turnarounds.
Do you do LOIs with them at this stage?
we have bid lines.
Or you put it? I mean, to say we're making a commitment.
Oh, no, we. Give them an approval letter once we get, we'll, you know, give you an approval letter and then we'll proceed with you.
So just a little more, I have a color question. Which bids came in a little lower than you were projecting and which bids came in a little higher than you were projecting? And, you know, in the 4 hours you had to look at it, any sense?
Well, I think most importantly are the trades that have big spreads, which is demolition, site work, concrete, flooring, and plumbing. Is where we see sort of potential risk because of the spread between the low bidder and the second bidder. And, you know, all in, that's about $1.5 million. I would certainly not expect, you know, 100% of them to evaporate, but there's, you know, likelihood that one or two may.
Were there any bid packages where you just wish you would have had another 1 or 2 people?
Yes. We were disappointed with our glass and glazing. We thought, we were confirmed that we were gonna have 3 bids. We got 1. Another bidder submitted it the wrong way. Didn't go through the electronic process, so, that wasn't supposed to put it in the bid. And then the third, just evaporated. He just, when we talked to him the day before, and then he didn't show up on the party.
The glass and glazing isn't the windows, is it?
It's not the double hung windows. It's really just the storefront at either ends of the building, and the front door.
Okay,
It's the aluminum and glass.
So it's not huge, it's not.
$247,000 worth of work, so it's not, yeah.
Was it within your, potential range for what you thought was good?
Let's see, that's closing. No, it was high. We were about 183 and it came to 58, so,
And what about the bid that we couldn't accept?
we didn't open it.
Can't open
So
it.
you can't open it?
No.
Okay. So
So,
what's the,
so the options are, we can throw out, we can just say we're gonna rebid it, or we can, we'll scope, Norwalk, see what that goes, how that goes, and then make a decision whether you want to rebid it or, accept Norwalk.
So people kind of certainly gonna ask about windows, so how does that go?
Windows came in well, yeah, we were at 263 and they're 250, so pretty much right on the money.
Okay, what are they getting, Marvin's?
It's a Marvin, through Rings End.
You want new windows on your house, it's the same price.
We have
$250.
more windows on.
Yeah, there you go, and they charge us $250 for our house, that's the same thing.
so when you go to sit down with the glass and the glazing person, can you actually try and bargain them down or let them know?
If you reopen that bid, can you just throw that out and say, okay, we'll start again?
Yeah.
With the group that didn't come in the right way electronically?
Yeah.
Could they rebid theoretically if they really wanted it, or do you
Yeah,
think they really didn't want it?
The problem is, the cards are a little bit on the table,
Yeah,
so everybody else, you know, if they do their homework.
they know
know
where the
that
numbers
there's
are,
a-
yeah.
263 or whatever,
All right.
and so, you know, are they gonna be as aggressive as they would without that information? I don't know, you know human nature as well as I do.
Yeah.
They know there's a number of 170.
Yeah.
For the minutes.
So, roof timing, roof decision timing. Can we talk about that a little bit and get a sense of, when that has to be
Most second.
decided?
I think it's still December, unless you have any other.
Yeah, I would say
I think we should get our feet wet first, you know.
Demo.
Demo
get the
first
demo, get some of
before we
the stuff.
decide to spend something, you know.
Okay,
It doesn't make a difference to the project cost wise, right? So
Yeah.
after December, so.
Yeah, we want to demo all the trim that comes off anyway. See if something else surfaces and after we get through, you know, all the, icing on the cake, if you will. Maybe get the cupola off.
how are the people bids?
That's all, that's part of the demo.
Okay,
Demo could come in higher than our estimate, but that's abatement, you know, the abatement is sort of a wild card.
all right, so don't get people, only because you put it out there as a shiny apple for a decision to be made, we wanna keep people, under wrap until they.
Yeah, I
we get.
I wouldn't wait till, you know, June of next year.
Well, the easy thing is you like have the
Yes, we
money
did.
for it, so you can put it even if. You can put it in the GMD or.
We get a lot of people.
Well, we'll have somewhere else, like, so just little extra add all.
It would be pretty cool.
Exactly, yeah.
It would be crazy,
So we can add all.
but I rescheduled it. No, okay, a lot of stuff.
Let them bat all through.
Slick first.
Oh, I see.
Like,
No,
So I don't know if you heard that, like, the roof will be, the alternate that was received from the bidders will be, continue to be an alternate from Turner, so it'll be very easy to execute. Once we know we have a comfortable contingency, we've gone through the demolition process, didn't uncover anything which you'd expect to uncover a building like this.
we expect.
And then, then we would be able to make that decision.
Yeah, the other exposure.
you're talking not till we go through demolition, we're not gonna start construction till December.
Demolition starts.
That's, well, the pavement starts.
So
first
you're
thing.
talking then about awarding the contract then when?
A little bit December-ish.
December-ish?
What, the alternate or the?
Alternate.
The alternate, yeah,
Just the alternate. Exercising the alternate.
yeah, it might be January or something like that, after we get through abatement and demolition.
Well, can I add a question? If, especially if the bids come in at a comfortable level and there's, you know, room, especially within like our upper end to do, say we can do the roof. why are we waiting till December? And we're gonna end up doing it? I mean, is there any, is there any reason we would go in there now? I've got another many, I mean, I'm just wondering, if we're gonna do it, why don't we just recommend it?
What I would say is if the committee wants to borrow the money from the contingency, borrow the money from contingency, but it's not, you know, being the gatekeeper of the dollars, it's hard to say that we should steal money from contingency on day one of the project, before we've even opened up the warrants. But if you want to borrow, you guys want to take on that added risk, go ahead, take on that added risk. So,
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of extra abatement at the library.
Right, that's why I said we get our feet wet, right, and get through the demo, and then we'll know.
Well,
That's the time.
The other side is, doesn't hurt for us to wait, it doesn't cost us anything to wait. There's
I
no.
think we just have to be very careful with the numbers that we publicly present. I think we want to include in the numbers, since we want to do the roof, we want to include the roof in the numbers that we present, the next round of numbers that we.
I think it's a very, very good point, Penny, since.
We don't wanna-
And I think that's a fair, more open representation of where we are, since feedback for the bodies, elected officials was very pro doing the roof. It would be more realistic to put them in initially when we start talking to people in September. That may be it's
So
whether
I
it's
think,
contractually
yeah,
done.
so when we present, we want to do it, I think we want to include that. That when we go with our updates in the fall, we want to include and our bottom line number that, and let's look at what our contingencies are.
I
And
think, let's get to the GMP.
let's just get,
And then we.
so I guess it's all gonna be whether or not we include it in the, well,
Well,
whatever,
it'll be
you know, whether or not, we can figure out the contract, or be part of the GMP, but I think in terms of public perception and the public number that gets out there, that this next number is gonna be really critical.
Right, but so the GMP comes in, well, right now, the hoping it's coming in lower than we expected. Then that's a very easy representation to put it, because we're still in terms of the overall cost to the town and what we're planning on doing.
Right,
There's
but I'm just
cushion
saying,
there.
treat it as a deduct all for the future rather than as an add-on for the future in terms of the project numbers that we present to the town.
But as Mike Tyson famously said, we all have a plan until we get punched in the nose. We haven't punched in the nose yet, but we know we will.
When you say abatement, are you talking about asbestos, or are you talking?
Yeah, especially.
So wasn't this done in the eighties, didn't they didn't do any, or did they not get it all, or?
Why don't we find any PCBs if we're not testing?
You have to assume that all the caulk has PCBs in
And that's what our plan is,
it.
so it's just for how much cost there is.
And then the asbestos question.
The asbestos question, we haven't opened up a lot of walls,
Yeah,
so you really can't quantify, how much plumbing still has asbestos wrap. At the library, there's a lot of asbestos mastic on the foundations.
What is mastic?
It's tar,
Like caulk?
tar.
yeah,
What's waterproofing?
yeah.
Asbestos gives a good bond.
Well, it did.
Yeah.
Space them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's all those little things that are buried that crop up and,
So if there's not as much as you expected, the demolition cost could come in, I mean, is it sort of
No,
one of those
we're-
things where it's a fixed price and doesn't matter?
yeah, they've identified X quantity and that's what
I
we
see.
price.
Okay,
But there's Y quantity that they haven't identified because they didn't open up all the walls, they didn't test all the glue behind the blackboards or the whatever.
Yes, I mean, it's the poke the product, when we say it's the poke the product, that's accurate, but, the visual was, you're in the old, shooting range as an example, they say, well, we put a hole here and we put a hole there.
yeah.
But we didn't
Yeah,
put,
yeah.
we didn't open up the whole wall,
Right.
so who's the second?
Right.
So can I question just how, when asbestos was used, so the building's super old, right, but it's gone through these
Yeah,
renovations.
it's older than asbestos. right?
That wasn't my question, so it was like the series of renovations is what would have put the asbestos in the building.
Right, it's the 40,
Right.
50s, 60s.
And the last redo was in around 78 or something, when was the last time they renovated that building? 80s?
It was one of the.
The top floor,
80s,
there's not gonna be asbestos in the top floor.
Right?
That, I don't think we think we're gonna find asbestos in the top floor, because that was taken down I thought that was taken down,
Yeah.
Jim lights, I thought that was
Yeah.
taken down and discussed and redone.
That, yeah, when they did for the town hall.
I don't know that it was hundreds of.
I don't think it was 100% either.
I think there's some ceilings above ceilings that we've seen. Yeah, I know, I looked above some of the ceilings and there are blue dots all over the place.
Right.
Those blue dots are famous for, asbestos.
Um,
So they take the one by one ceiling off. but the blue
Nobody's
dots
gonna be
get-
in there, so if we have it, it'll be easier to do.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's why we decided to do it this way, right? At the eligibility.
And then the underpinning is another, potential risk, part of the site work and demo packages, once they open the slab. There could be some other complications there.
So the final quote was, we're cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's just a broad brush, 4 hours of analysis, but we're confident that the numbers we told the top bodies certainly are holding us up.
Wonderful.
On the wall.
yeah, but give us a couple weeks to really dig through and then we'll give you much more.
And GMP, end of August.
Yep.
And that's from a town body perspective, probably the next big number that they would care about. Is that fair, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually when we have someone on board to do the work, that I can contract with, so the risk is kind of, from the town. Or,
That's our next meeting.
Well, our next meeting, we can talk about that real fast, scheduled for the 24th of August. And that will be the last meeting before we speak to the town bodies. So we're starting on, or at least it's selected on the 5th. Board of Finance is the 12th, right? Town Council is the 20th. I think that's
I
right.
have to look
I'd
at
have
it,
to-
but I can put
I mean,
it.
that's what I wrote down, and then selected again is on the 19th. If we,
So Bill, we're on for the 24th.
I don't
Yeah.
know, that's what we have to this.
Well, we would have, we would need, if we're gonna take a GMP and we want an update on.
Oh,
it.
you have champion?
Yeah, let us get through some of the scoping first. And it would be good to decide, I guess now, frankly, what you want to do with windows, because if we're gonna rebid windows, that would be back on the time.
Glass and glazing.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. Glass and glazing.
We should likely go with your recommendation, but why don't?
Yeah,
I just think we had a-
So if you look at the 247 compared to your estimate and you feel comfortable that it's fair market value, I think we don't bid it. And that's, if that's.
Right,
okay.
I would,
With that.
and second that, I mean, there's a reason we didn't get more bids, because these guys are probably hammered right now.
I guess otherwise we would carry an allowance in the GMP for a value, and then we can bid it subsequent, and then just, we would have to adjust the GMP based on where the numbers came in relative to the allowance.
Wait, I'm hearing
Right,
that.
what I would like to do what's the best for the overall project, and so we have to do that type of adjustment and make the GMP more complicated, that's fine with me,
Yeah.
if you all end up.
Okay,
I mean, is there a risk that it's gonna
I
go
just-
higher than the
Yeah.
247?
I think I'm just correcting myself that it shouldn't have to hold up the actual GMP, this will work.
The only other question.
Yeah. Yeah.
So logistically, as I'm looking at our dates we put out there, we put a 3-week gap between the August 24th and September 14th. My calendar shows the September 14th meeting, not one on the set. Is that what you show?
For the, I'm sorry, for the next
Building committee.
building committee? Give me 1 second.
Skip Labor Day. That's Labor Day week, right?
Yeah, we skip later in the week.
But I'm on the 7th. You need a.
I have the 14th.
Yeah, so you have it the 24th and the 14th. Okay, so that's what I've written down, but I just wanted to make sure I just didn't put the wrong thing.
Yeah, it's not every 2 weeks, I think there was.
There's the third, yeah, that was.
There was just,
August.
second, and
Yeah, so we still, so then the question is, do you want to keep the 24th? I'm not here the 31st. The 31st is the Thursday before Labor Day.
Does it make any sense to do it like, if we're doing the board of finance on the 12th, like push it back to the 7th?
Or we're going, so I don't know,
I mean,
I don't know that it matters, to the selectmen first. I mean, that's the most appropriate way to do it. We can go to the. I think we're ahead of schedule, so whatever the most appropriate way to do it, find a way.
The Board of Finance is just an update.
that's true.
It's not a
Right,
response.
they're not,
That's true, that's true.
everything's been approved, so we're not asking for a vote.
money.
We're not asking for a vote. Those are
Right,
just
right,
planning.
right.
So to Joe's point, it's almost more appropriate to go to the Board of Selectmen first to say that you went with the award to give them, you know.
Yes, and
Yeah.
then, and we're still holding to that fifth, right, that we can look the Board of Selectmen in the eye and, let them-
Right, so, Matt, I mean, I know that I'll be able to review it. I know Sam will be able to review it, just to be the timing of the 24th meeting, and for the committee to be able to review.
right.
Andy, what's Andy Swayze, your sense, you think we'll be able to pull the GMP together by the 24th?
Yeah, I think we can do that.
I think it's in everybody's best interest. We want to keep this up and we want to get it hired. That's probably the biggest thing. And we won't hire them until we get that thing signed. So it's really, that's more the driver, right? Yeah.
Right, but the board of selectmen will be signing it,
Right.
not,
No, right, yeah, but you.
So it's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to go with the Board of Selectmen on the fifth, not the 19th.
Oh, absolutely.
Right,
Yeah.
so the 24th is definitely the day we'll, you know, that's day and then,
For
yeah,
some reason,
14th
we
will be fine.
can't approve the whole thing on the 24th, but we can always call a very short special
Yes.
meeting to do
Absolutely.
it.
Or you can do it up to a certain amount too.
Right.
And we didn't put it back in my court.
Right.
Doesn't the committee need to approve the GMP?
Yeah, no, that's what I said, for some reason, I mean, let's do it on the 24th, for some reason, you all don't want.
Yeah, as long as you guys,
that,
you know,
we
think you
can
can get there.
Subsequent really short meetings where you, dot eyes before the board.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, even if you just call stuff a vote, I don't know if you can do that.
We could vote for, we can come here, I believe, we could come here on the 24th, if there's some nits and nats that still need to be nailed down.
Yeah.
By Turner, we could approve it, you could do like
Subject
approval,
to, yeah.
approval,
Up to.
up to,
Yeah.
20.3.
Right.
It's be fine, because of these 2 or 3 items, and we can write that in the minutes.
Yeah, the whole GMP amendment is more than just the numbers, there's a lot of stuff in there, so I want kind of.
Yeah. That's the other thing too, is that if we say the 24th, we get it on the 23rd.
Yeah.
I can't, look, you guys are based on the 24th and say it's fully vetted, you're part of public works company.
Yeah.
So. I'm gonna need a little time.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, when you say the 24th, does that mean it's ready on the evening of the 23rd, or does that mean that these guys are gonna?
It's gonna be the time.
It's coming to that.
Yeah. You're not on vacation that week, you know, or Joe, right? All right.
Not yet.
Okay, that's all we have, so I think we just covered next steps. For the town bodies, the other things that are out there have to do with advertising to the public about the police, the police, location change and things like that, and I think everyone has sort of signed off on the fact that, yeah, we need signage, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that campaign, I think people are up for that. You got your assurances that, EMS will be able to flush their toilets in the fall or in the
We'll
winter.
have electricity and sewer and, As much notice as we can get on the sewer project, obviously, would be helpful.
And
And you said the police are out of there now? You said.
No. Board of Ed,
Right. Then police don't move till
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, and you're not gonna do the sewer thing until after they move or before then?
Right.
After they move, okay, so there
Yeah,
won't
you're
be a
telling people
problem.
December.
interest in the-
Right, you're telling the EMS people really December.
Okay, all right, I'll tell them December then. All right. Great.
As your Christmas party's going on, probably.
At the club.
Yeah,
We-
I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
I just had, sort of a screwball question, which was, for the, don't we have an extra generator coming away from the police building?
Yes,
Yeah, we're
So
waiting.
what about giving that to, the new, Board of Ed office? Because we don't have a generator. Does that make?
I don't know what eyes on it, so I can get money for that.
I was just curious.
He's looking
If it-
at, he's looking at different options.
And I
as
don't
to
even
what to do
know,
with that.
I don't even know if our superintendent wants it, but I just thought it might be. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry, who's
He's
looking at?
Phil manages all of our generators, so he's looking at different options for that. We don't know if that we, there's certain things that have got to go
Right.
to that.
I'm
He is
just
looking
curious.
at that option, that possibility of bringing that over there specifically to your answer. We are looking at that possibility or others,
But that building must have an emergency generator that goes for like 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Got batteries, that's all it does have. Okay, whatever. It just doesn't take that long to get.
So someone mentioned,
It's a little, yeah, it's a little more complicated.
Make sure.
How the emergency panels are set up and whatnot.
Thank you. Yeah, well, the students there.
your biggest guy with
What?
Big enough to make the whole building.
What? You want the school to change?
yes,
The schools have enough generators to get all the kids out.
it's up, not
out of
necessarily the
school.
power completely.
For sewer parts.
But,
Enough.
yeah, but you couldn't stay in it.
Right,
But you can't stay in it for a long period, so that's.
It's the reason why we don't use them, it's the reason why we don't use them for a shelter, because you can't.
right, that's why we're doing a lot.
All right.
Bill, the only other item that's still on my list, back in June, I drafted up a 15-page document about where to locate the auxiliary vehicles. And then, of course, I left for Vermont. So nothing, I don't know if anything has happened since then. Tiger, Joe, John, do you guys have any insights there?
Nothing as of yet. We're still looking at what you have versus what, we've got a couple of different parcels at play as to what we can do. So depending upon if we move with parcel in one location, it shuts it off for that and vice versa.
I heard you guys are the undercard for the Zuckerberg, monster fight. And we're gonna put the police and the town officials, as an undercard, throw you all into the cage and whoever's last person in there, gets to decide where these things go. No? Are you gonna do it in a more?
I live
Being a more.
We can broadcast it. I'll come in on a Saturday to help.
So officially, there's no update on that story, and I guess for Paul, we will say that I've heard nothing on training center. Correct?
I assume we've heard nothing. Correct.
Yeah.
You waiting to hear
Again.
from?
Again.
Okay,
Yeah.
is this thing gonna be mute till after the? till after the-
It's not mute. It's not mute.
It's not.
No.
Nathan Moot?
What can you do?
Yeah. Not either, nor.
Can you update us with anything, Tiger, or no?
And that's the first select one.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? We're gonna get out of here before 9, that's good, that's good.
It's good.
All right, thank you all.
Amazing how good news meetings fly quicker. Great. Thank you, Seth, again, thank you so much, Turner, for the quick turnaround. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Turner, should we,
It's the whole team, I was supposed to be all right, so we're adjourned, but you find that.
Are we done?
Right. Close.
We done?
Done.
Yeah.
All right, so I think